Space was silent, cold, and endless. But inside the Zuraki command ship Varkin, silence did not mean peace. Silence meant danger. The Zuraki were a proud warrior species. For thousands of years they had conquered weak worlds, broken enemy fleets, and destroyed every species that dared resist them. To them, battle was not fear, battle was tradition, but today something felt wrong. Commander Raxir Velter, leader of the Zuraki 8th Invasion Fleet, stood on the bridge with his 4 eyes fixed on the stars outside. The fleet was moving through a quiet region of space far from any major civilization. Their mission was simple: invade a small human research station, capture scientists, and move on. Humans were considered a young, unimportant species, soft, slow, emotional. At least that was what the Zuraki had always believed. Raxir felt no threat, but something in the silence bothered him. He clicked his mandibles and spoke. "Status, why are the sensors showing interference?" The sensor officer, a slim Zuraki named Velter, pressed his claws on glowing controls. "Commander, I do not understand. The interference is not natural. Something is pushing through our scan range." "Pushing?" Raxir repeated. "No ship can do that, not even ours." Velter's voice shook. "This is different, sir. It feels like a message cutting through our network." Raxir growled. "Put it on the main screen." The lights dimmed, the view of the stars faded, a black screen appeared, but it was not empty. A single blinking blue dot pulsed in the center. Thump, thump, thump. Every pulse sent a soft vibration through the bridge. "Why is a message shaking the hull?" Raxir demanded. I do not know," Velter whispered. The blue dot stopped blinking. A voice, calm, deep, perfectly clear, filled the entire bridge. "This is Terran Command. Identify yourselves immediately." The Zuraki crew stared in confusion. "Terran humans here? Impossible. Humans had no outposts in this region. They had no major fleet here. They had no right to be here at all." Raxir laughed. "A human message from where there is no ship in scanning range." Velter looked even more nervous. "That is not correct, Commander. There is something very small, very close." "What is it?" Raxir barked. Velter swallowed. "A probe. A probe." Several officers laughed. The Zuraki had destroyed human probes before. They were flimsy, slow, made of weak metals. Raxir waved his hand. "Bring the probe on screen." The screen changed again. There it was, a tiny metal object, barely 2 meters long, floating calmly in front of the massive Zuraki warship. Raxir felt insulted. "A single probe dare speak to us? Intruder, remove this foolish object." A young warrior stepped forward, raised his plasma cannon, and fired a bright beam. The probe exploded instantly, its pieces falling like sparks in the dark. The crew cheered, but Velter didn't cheer. He stared at his console, shaking. "Commander, the signal didn't stop." Raxir turned sharply. "What?" Velter looked terrified now. The message, it was not coming from the probe. It was only using the probe as an amplifier. Raxir's hearts froze. "So where is the real sender?" Velter answered with dread. "Everywhere, Commander. The signal is echoing from multiple points. Something huge is producing it, something far beyond our scan limits." As if responding to his fear, the voice returned. "You are trespassing in Terran space. Leave now." This time the voice was louder, stronger, almost warning. Raxir forced his voice steady. "Terran Command, you lie. Humans do not control this region. Reveal your ship." Silence, then final request: leave. The bridge temperature dropped. No one moved. Raxir slammed a fist against the control panel. "Terran Command, you dare threaten the Zuraki Empire? We have crushed stronger species than you." Again silence. The blue dot faded, the screen went dark, and then the ship's gravity suddenly shifted. The floor tilted, loose tools slid, lights flickered. "What now?" Raxir growled. Velter screamed. "Commander, something is bending the space behind us." All 4 of Raxir's eyes widened. Space bending. He turned to the main window. At first he saw nothing. Then a thin line of white light appeared in the void, just a line, silent, straight, perfect. The line widened slowly like a crack opening across reality. "By the Emperor," someone whispered. The crack became a doorway, the doorway became a tunnel, and behind the tunnel something enormous moved, something too large to understand at first. A shadow, a shape, a machine. The bridge fell silent, as if every officer forgot how to breathe. Velter whispered in horror. "Commander, something is coming through the hyperspace rift, something massive." Raxir felt his throat tighten. "Size?" Velter touched his console with shaking claws. "Too big, sir. Our scanners cannot calculate it. It exceeds our top scale." "This cannot be," Raxir snapped. "No species has a ship that size," but he could see it now, a massive hull gliding through the crack in space. Giant thrusters glowing like blue suns, huge cannons glowing bright orange. Panels of armor thicker than Zuraki fortresses. The rift widened more. The ship pushed through inch by inch, filling the entire viewport. A deep, heavy hum filled the air like the growl of a giant beast waking from sleep, and then the rift closed behind it. The ship floated in silence, perfect, still, terrifying. Velter whispered the words no one wanted to hear. "Commander, it's a human battleship." Raxir felt his heart's pound. This cannot be. Humans do not build ships like this. Humans do not have this power. The battleship lit its thrusters just slightly, not moving, just adjusting, but even that tiny adjustment sent shockwaves through the Zuraki scanners. Raxier stared at the enormous human vessel. For the first time in years, he felt small. Then the voice returned, not through speakers, not through screens, through every system on every Zeraki ship. Last warning. The officers panicked. Commander. What do we do? Should we retreat? No, humans are weak. This is no weak ship. We cannot fight this. We must— Enough, Raxier roared. He tried to stay calm, but he knew this was not a normal enemy. This was not a normal ship. This was something the Zeraki Empire had never imagined humans could build. Raxier forced himself to speak clearly. Prepare weapons, prepare shields, we will not retreat. But his voice lacked confidence, the crew noticed. Velter stepped forward, his voice breaking. Commander, I must report something else. Raxier clenched his jaw. What now? We scanned the ship's armor. It is beyond anything we know. No weak points, no energy gaps. The power output is off the charts. Raxier's skin crawled. And there is more, Velter added. Raxier glared. Say it. Velter took a deep breath. That ship is watching us. The bridge fell dead silent. Raxier looked out the window. The huge human battleship floated motionless, but its glowing blue observation lenses were pointed directly at the Zeraki flagship, studying them, analyzing them, judging them. Raxier spoke with a dry mouth. Why are they just watching? Velter answered quietly, because they want to see what we do next. A cold fear touched every officer's spine. Raxier felt anger mixing with fear. How dare humans try to intimidate us? But before he could continue, another message echoed. Zeraki fleet, you destroyed our probe. That was a mistake. Raxier froze, then prepare for consequences. The lights in the Zeraki ship turned red, warning alarms screamed. The entire fleet shuddered. Velter shouted, Commander, energy levels in the human ship are rising fast. Raxier gave a final order, voice trembling. All ships battle stations. But deep inside, he already knew this battle would not be like the others. This enemy would not be easy. And this ship, this enormous human war machine, was not built for warnings. It was built for destruction. The Zeraki fleet floated in formation, but no one on the bridge of the flagship felt steady, not after seeing that impossible human battleship appear from a tear in space. Even the strongest warriors kept their claws close to their weapons, their eyes fixed on the giant shape outside. Commander Raxier stood in the center of the bridge, trying to keep a firm expression. But inside, two of his hearts beat too fast. Everything about this situation felt wrong. The humans were not supposed to be here. Humans were not supposed to have a ship like that. Humans were not supposed to be powerful, yet the ship floating before them looked like a city made of steel and fire. And it was silent, too silent. Commander, Velter whispered, the human ship is charging energy again, but the signature is not for weapons. Raxier turned sharply. Then what is it? Velter hesitated. It looks like scanners. They are scanning our entire fleet. Raxier's mandibles clicked together hard. The humans were studying them, measuring them, judging them. Stop their scan, Raxier ordered. We can't, Velter answered immediately. Their technology is far stronger. Another officer leaned forward. Commander, should we send another message? Perhaps negotiate? Raxier glared. We do not negotiate with weak species, we destroy them. But when he looked at the human battleship again, his confidence faded a little. The ship did not behave like something weak, it behaved like something ancient and patient. A soft ripple of red emergency lights flashed across the Zeraki consoles. What now? Raxier demanded. The tactical officer gulped. Multiple small objects leaving the human ship. Everyone turned to the viewport. Dots, tiny glowing dots, began drifting toward the Zeraki fleet slowly, almost casually. They looked harmless, like small sparks floating through the void. What are those? An officer asked. Velter zoomed the view, his eyes widened. Commander, they are drones. Raxier felt his skin crawl. Drones, that many? Hundreds, maybe thousands. They formed a wave of glowing blue particles moving in perfect formation. They aren't armed, Velter whispered. Raxier narrowed his eyes. Then what is their purpose? Silence. Then Velter spoke again, voice soft with fear. They are scanning us from the outside. The drones passed between Zeraki ships, around them, above them, below them. They moved smoothly, like they already knew the Zeraki fleet's shape, size, and layout. Raxier felt insulted. We are warriors, he growled. We are not targets for study. He raised his arm. Destroy the drones. Laser beams fired instantly. Plasma bolts streaked across space. They hit nothing. The drones shifted, twisted, and moved like water. Every bolt passed harmlessly through empty space. It's like they predicted our shots before we fired. The weapons officer trembled. Raxier slammed his fist down. Enough. Fire full barrage. Every ship in the Zeraki fleet opened fire. Beams filled the void. Explosions of plasma flew in every direction. But the drones simply glided through the chaos. Not one hit. It was like watching a rainstorm fall around ghosts. The human ship remained perfectly still. Then a voice arrived again, calmer, deeper, more serious. Zeraki fleet attacking our drones was another mistake. The drones instantly stopped moving. They turned, every single one aligned toward the Zeraki flagship. Velter whispered, Commander, energy spike. The drones are changing. Each drone expanded, unfolding metal petals like mechanical flowers. Small glowing cores appeared inside them. Commander, Velter swallowed hard. These drones are not weapons. Raxier frowned. Then what are they? Velter finished in a whisper. They are eyes. And as if responding to his words, the drones projected thin blue scanning beams across the Zuraki fleet, mapping every hull, every shield, every weapon type, every engine signature. The humans were learning everything. Raxier felt fear crawl into his bones. They are scanning for weaknesses, he said quietly. Another officer shouted, Commander, they found something. Raxier spun. What did they find? Velter read the screen, horrified. They identified our shield harmonics, our engine heat patterns, and our plasma cycle rates. Raxier stared. That means they can break our shields anytime they want. Raxier froze at that exact moment. The human battleship moved, just slightly, just a small tilt of its giant structure. But one tiny movement from something so massive made every Zuraki feel it in their chests. The drones retracted and flew back to the battleship like a swarm returning to its nest. And then the battleship turned its full attention toward the Zuraki flagship. All its glowing blue lenses focused on one point. Commander Raxier Velter. The voice came again. This time colder, sharper, final. Your fleet is compromised. You attacked without reason. We warned you twice. Raxier tried to stay proud. We are the Zuraki Empire. You cannot order us. The voice responded instantly. We do not order you. A pause. We simply end threats. Raxier's hearts dropped. Before he could speak, a blinding flash lit the entire bridge. One beam, one single thin beam of blue light left the human battleship. It traveled across space in total silence. It touched one Zuraki cruiser, and the cruiser disappeared. No explosion, no fire, no debris, just gone. The entire bridge froze. Raxier felt his knees weaken. What was that? He whispered. The tactical officer stared at the empty space. Commander, they erased it, atomized, nothing left. The human voice spoke one more time. Stop now or the next shot will be your flagship. The Zuraki crew looked at Raxier, warrior faces, but with fear behind every eye. Velter's voice trembled. Commander, what do we do? Raxier looked at the human battleship, a silent, glowing titan watching them, waiting, and for the first time in his life, the Zuraki commander didn't know the answer. The destroyed Zuraki cruiser still left a ghost-like shape in the eyes of everyone on the bridge. One moment the ship existed, the next moment it was gone from reality. The emptiness where it had stood was more terrifying than any explosion. Commander Raxier stared at that dark, silent space for several seconds. His mind refused to accept what he saw. An entire war cruiser vanished with one shot. No fire, no debris, not even a spark. What kind of weapon erases matter? The Zuraki were advanced, yes, but even they respected physics. Even they believed in limits. But the humans had just shown them something that did not follow rules at all. Something their empire did not understand. Something that could destroy them. Raxier finally spoke, but his voice was not the same, it was weaker. Where is our ship? He whispered. The tactical officer shook his head slowly. Commander, it is not anywhere, not in physical space, not in subspace, not in hyperspace. Raxier felt one of his hearts skip. He removed it from existence, Velter said softly. Humans removed a ship like deleting a mistake. A cold paralysis spread through the bridge. Then the lights flickered again. The human ship was changing position, slowly drifting, rotating its colossal body until it pointed straight toward the Zuraki flagship. Every glowing lens stared at them like eyes of a giant metal god, watching, waiting, judging. The human voice returned, quieter but more dangerous than before. Zuraki flagship, you are outmatched, make your final choice. Raxier's mandibles twitched. We do not retreat. We are warriors of the Zuraki Empire, you cannot. The voice interrupted sharply. This is not about pride, this is about survival. The bridge temperature seemed to drop. Some officers held their breath, others shook slightly. A few stared at Raxier with something close to desperation. They wanted him to choose life, not pride. But Raxier was old. He had won 50 battles. He believed in the Empire more than himself. We do not surrender, he growled. Before anyone could respond, warning alarms screamed. Red lights flashed across every console. The weapons officer shouted, Commander, the human ship is charging again. Raxier raised his hand, shields to maximum. The officer hesitated. Commander, shields will not matter. Raxier roared, activate them anyway. The shields lit up, glowing green around the flagship and spreading through the fleet like a large, shimmering dome. Velter looked at his screen and turned pale. Commander, we are being targeted. Raxier clenched his fists. Which ship? Velter answered without looking up. Every ship. The bridge fell dead silent. All at once, glowing red indicators appeared across Velter's screen, one for every Zuraki ship. Dozens of red targeting lines came from the human battleship. Raxier whispered in disbelief, are they planning to destroy the entire fleet at once? Velter nodded slowly. The humans were done warning. The humans were preparing to end the Zuraki expedition. Commander, the communications officer whispered, our long-range channel is receiving a message. Raxir frowned. From who? The human ship? No, from the Zuraki High Command. Raxir froze. High Command never sent direct messages during battle. If they were reaching out now, it meant they were watching. It meant the Empire already knew the danger. It meant they were afraid too. Put the message through, Raxir ordered. The hologram of a Zuraki admiral flickered into the air, face strict, eyes cold. Commander Raxir Velter, stand down immediately. Raxir felt shock strike him. Stand down, retreat from humans. This is a misunderstanding, Raxir tried to argue. We encountered a human ship, we know, the admiral interrupted. We detected its power from across 3 sectors. Raxir stiffened. Then you understand we must destroy it, he insisted. The admiral's expression turned furious. You fool, that ship is beyond anything our empire has ever seen. You should have retreated the moment it arrived. The bridge froze. No one dared speak. The admiral continued. You attacked their probe. You attacked their drones. You tried to fight a ship that could erase matter. He leaned closer. You have put the entire Zuraki Empire in danger. Raxir felt like he had been stabbed. His crew watched him with something like pity. Commander. The admiral said quietly, you have one order now, retreat. Raxir's pride screamed inside him, but his crew wanted to live. His empire wanted to survive. He finally bowed his head. Very well, the admiral nodded once. Signal the humans, tell them we surrender and are leaving this sector. The hologram vanished. Everyone looked at Raxir. He opened his mouth to speak, but the human voice arrived first. Commander Raxir, your delay is over. Raxir stumbled back. Wait, we accept your terms. We will leave this sector. Silence, then you attacked first, but we will allow retreat this time. A wave of relief washed through the bridge. Some officers sagged in their chairs. Others covered their faces with trembling hands, but the voice wasn't finished. We are not here for war, but we defend our space. Always, the targeting lights disappeared. The drones flew back to the human ship like a flock obeying their master. The giant battleship slowly turned away. Its thrusters lit up like blue suns, and then with a soft distortion it vanished into hyperspace, leaving the Zuraki fleet alone in empty space. Alive, terrified, completely humbled, Raxir sank into his command chair. The breaking point had passed, but something far worse had taken its place. The Zuraki now knew the truth. Humans were not weak. Humans were not slow. Humans were not prey. Humans were a force the galaxy should never provoke again. And Raxir whispered to himself, this changes everything. The Zuraki fleet moved through space at retreat speed, fast, shaky, and desperate. The flagship's engines roared louder than usual, as if the ship itself wanted to escape that terrible human war machine. Inside the bridge there was no pride left, no victory songs, no warrior chants, only silence, thick, heavy silence. No one could forget what they saw. A human ship bigger than anything they had imagined. A weapon that erased a cruiser like it was dust, drones that could predict movements before they happened, and the worst part, the humans let them go. That was not mercy, that was confidence. Commander Raxir sat alone in his chair, staring at the stars rushing past. His 4 eyes looked empty, drained of the fire he once carried. Velter finally broke the silence. Commander, incoming transmission from High Command, Priority Alpha. Raxir nodded slowly. The hologram of the Zuraki admiral appeared again, this time with others beside him, senior generals, strategic council members, and in the center the Emperor himself. Every Zuraki officer stood straight immediately. Even Raxir forced himself to stand tall, though fear gripped him. The Emperor spoke with a low, cold voice. Commander Raxir, you will report. Raxir bowed his head. Your Majesty, the humans revealed technology we cannot match. They erased a cruiser with a single shot. They one-shot. A general interrupted. Explain. Raxir swallowed. There was no explosion, no debris. The ship simply disappeared. The council members exchanged uneasy looks. The Emperor narrowed his eyes. And what else? Raxir continued. Their drones moved like they could think ahead. They studied our fleet in seconds. They discovered all our weak points. Another general whispered. Impossible. Raxir shook his head. No, it happened. The humans knew everything about us before we even fired. The Emperor remained silent for several seconds, then he leaned closer. What was your impression of the human captain? Raxir froze. We never saw them. The ship acted by itself, or the captain never needed to show himself. The Emperor's voice hardened. And does this human ship threaten the Zuraki Empire? Raxir spoke honestly. Your Majesty, if they wanted to destroy us, we would not be speaking right now. The bridge fell silent again. The council members looked shaken. Even the Emperor's expression changed just a little, but enough for the crew to see something they had never seen before. Fear, real fear. The Emperor finally spoke again. Commander Raxir, you will return home. The council will decide our next move. Raxir bowed. Yes, Your Majesty. The hologram faded. The bridge stayed still. Across the galaxy, news spreads. Every powerful empire, every trading guild, every pirate lord felt the shockwave of what happened. Far-off species whispered nervously about a giant human battleship that moved between stars like cutting light through water. Some called it a rumor, some said it was impossible, but the Zuraki Empire confirmed it, and that changed everything. In the hidden corners of the galaxy, alien merchants exchanged fearful whispers. I heard a human ship destroyed 20 Zuraki cruisers. No, no, not destroyed, erased. They say humans can predict your moves. They say humans can see through your shields. They say humans never fight unless necessary. That last whisper scared them the most. If humans fought only when pushed yet still built such terrifying weapons, what would they do if truly provoked? Back on the Zuraki fleet, Raxier left the bridge and walked through the hallways. Warriors who once admired him now avoided his eyes. He could feel their fear of the humans, and fear of what the Emperor might do next. Raxier entered his private chamber. The room was dark and quiet. He looked at his shaking hands. For the first time in decades, he questioned his own beliefs. Humans, he murmured. How did they become so strong so fast? He remembered the tone of the human voice. Calm, clear, cold, not angry, not emotional, just certain. He replayed the last words the humans said, "We are not here for war, but we defend our space, always." Raxier sank into his chair. The meaning became painfully clear. Humans did not want to rule the galaxy. Humans did not want to conquer worlds. Humans simply wanted freedom. But if someone threatened that freedom, humans became something else, something unstoppable, something the galaxy should fear. Raxier whispered, "Our empire has awakened a sleeping giant." The Zuraki Council meets far away in the Empire's capital world. The council gathered urgently. Every screen showed recordings from the flagship. They watched the human battleship emerge from hyperspace. They studied the erased cruiser. They observed the drones and their unbelievable movement. And every leader realized something terrifying. If humans had one ship like this, they might have more. The Emperor stood at the center. From this day, he declared, the humans must be treated as a Tier 1 threat. A general shouted, "Should we prepare for war?" The Emperor's gaze turned icy. "War against that fool?" He paused. "No, we prepare for survival." Back on Earth, the humans speak deep inside a human command center. In a quiet room filled with screens and holographic maps, a man watched the Zuraki retreat. A small smile formed on his face. "Good," he whispered. They listened. Another officer approached him. "Sir, should we pursue?" The human commander shook his head. "No, let them leave. They'll tell the others what they saw." The officer nodded. "And the battleship, on standby," the commander said calmly. "If anyone else crosses into our space, we give the same warning." He looked at the vast map of galaxy sectors, and if they don't listen, his eyes narrowed. They will learn what the Zuraki learned today. He pressed a button. The human battleship shimmered into view on the screen, silent, enormous, powerful, awaiting orders. The galaxy had changed. Fear had spread. Whispers had begun, and the humans had only shown a fraction of their strength. This was only the beginning. The Zuraki fleet drifted into their home sector like injured beasts crawling back to their den. The Great War banners that once flew with pride now felt heavy. Every ship carried the same quiet message. They had met something stronger, something colder, something human. On the flagship, Commander Raxier walked the hallways with slow steps. Warriors saluted him. But their eyes carried a question they were too afraid to speak. Are we safe from the humans? Raxier had no answer. Zuraki High Command, emergency session inside the Grand Hall of Strategy. The Zuraki Council sat around a long stone table. The Emperor stood at the front, his posture stiff, his eyes dark. Every officer in the hall had watched the recording of the human ship many times. Each time they replayed it, the fear inside them grew. One general finally spoke. "Your Majesty, humans should not have that much power. They are new to the stars, weak, emotional, flawed." Another general added, "How did they build such a warship? Who gave them that technology?" The Emperor raised a hand for silence. "No one gave it to them," he said. "They built it themselves." The room erupted in disbelief. "Impossible. No species builds something like that alone. That ship was too perfect." But the Emperor only stared at the hologram showing the massive human battleship. The humans are unpredictable. Their minds follow strange paths. Their progress is not logical, it jumps. He pointed at the hologram. "This ship is not the end, it is the beginning." A chilling silence spread through the council. The Emperor turned to the generals. "We cannot attack humans. We cannot threaten them, not now." "Then what do we do?" one general asked bitterly. The Emperor spoke slowly. "We prepare, quietly, secretly, and we pray the humans do not look our way." The Zuraki's desperate plan. Deep beneath the Zuraki capital, in a hidden facility known as Vault Blackstar, scientists gathered in panic. They studied every frame of the recordings, every drone, every blast, every movement of the human ship. Dr. Karen, the lead scientist, whispered, "This human technology, it bends rules. It looks like physics. But it is not physics as we know it." Another scientist added, "Their scanners saw through our entire fleet. Their weapon erased matter." Karen's eyes shook. "We cannot copy this, not in 100 years. A cold silence followed. One of the younger scientists whispered, "Then why are we here?" Karen turned to them. "Because the Emperor wants one thing: a way to hide from humans. Not fight, not destroy, not win, just hide." That alone showed how truly afraid the Zuraki Empire was. Meanwhile, on Earth, inside a deep underground facility beneath Antarctica, the human commander walked through a corridor lined with glass walls. Behind each wall were engineers, scientists, analysts, all working on machines that hummed with dangerous energy. He entered a dark chamber where a giant circular ring stood upright, glowing softly with blue patterns. A woman in a white coat approached him. "Sir, we finished analyzing the Zuraki scanners," she reported. "And they are strong, but they cannot detect quantum shift signatures." The commander smiled slightly. "So they still can't see us coming?" "No," she replied, "not even close." The commander looked at the giant ring. "Good, then we continue with Project Horizon." The scientist hesitated. "Sir, we still don't know the full power of Horizon." He placed a hand on the metal surface. "That's fine," he said quietly. "We know it will keep Earth safe." He turned toward her, "And that's all that matters." The galaxy begins to stir. Whispers spread across star systems. Rumors traveled through trading posts and spaceports. Humans destroyed a Zuraki cruiser in one shot. No debris, nothing left. "I heard the humans can erase entire fleets. They built a ship the size of a moon. They warned the Zuraki and let them live." That's the scary part. Some species grew fearful, some grew curious, and some secretly grew jealous. If the humans had such power, what else were they hiding? The Zuraki fleets returned. The Zuraki flagship finally landed on the capital's main platform. Crowds gathered to see the returning warriors, expecting a victorious roar, but instead they saw tired faces and trembling steps. Raxier walked down the ramp. For the first time in his life, he felt old. A young cadet rushed up to him with wide eyes. "Commander Raxier, what did the humans do? Did they attack? Did they?" Raxier raised a hand, stopping him. Cadet listened carefully. The boy straightened. Raxier's voice dropped into a cold whisper. "Humans don't attack without reason. They don't show anger. They don't show fear. They simply warn." He looked at the horizon. "And if you ignore that warning, then they show you what true destruction is." The cadet swallowed hard. Raxier walked away without saying more. His last words hung in the air like a shadow. Inside the human battleship, the giant human ship flew silently through deep space, almost ghost-like in its movement. Scientists monitored systems, strategists reviewed the Zuraki data, and AI units hummed around the control core. A soft chime rang. "Commander," the ship's AI voice spoke, "Zuraki Empire has begun rapid military expansion." The commander raised an "Preparing for revenge?" "No," the AI replied, "preparing for fear." The commander exhaled slowly. "Good, let them prepare." He turned toward the stars ahead. "As long as they stay away from Earth, there will be no war." He paused. "But if they ever cross our line again," the AI finished his sentence, "they will see the full power of humanity." The commander nodded. "And not even their emperor will survive that." The galaxy didn't know it yet, but a storm had begun. A silent, growing storm, made not by anger, not by conquest, not by hate, but by a simple truth. Humans did not want to rule the galaxy. They only wanted to defend their home, and there was nothing more dangerous in the universe than a human defending what they loved. The Zuraki Empire moved like an injured beast trying to heal fast. Factories ran day and night. Scientists worked without sleep. Warships were pulled from storage, rearmed, upgraded, polished. Generals barked orders to soldiers who had never felt fear until now. But it didn't matter. No ship, no weapon, no technology, nothing they built could erase matter with a single shot. Nothing they built could match the human battleship. Inside Vault Blackstar, Dr. Karen stood before a giant sphere made of black metal and glowing red veins. Dozens of scientists watched, whispering anxiously. "This," Karen explained, "is the only idea we have to survive the humans." A younger scientist stepped forward. "Project Oblivion, should we really activate it?" Karen's eyes were cold. "We have no choice." He placed his claw on a control pad. "If humans can erase matter, then maybe we can erase space." The room gasped. "That's suicide. That's madness. That's impossible." Karen's voice was quiet and trembling. "So is fighting humans." He pressed the final button. The black sphere awakened. A low, unnatural hum filled the room, a sound that didn't belong anywhere in reality. The lights flickered. Electricity rippled across the walls like nervous insects. Air shimmered as if reality itself was sweating. The hum grew deeper. A hole began to form in the center of the sphere, tiny at first, then bigger still. But it wasn't darkness, it was nothing. A soft, terrible nothingness. Some scientists stepped back, others ran. "Shut it down. It's becoming unstable." But the sphere swallowed the commands. Screens turned white, data vanished, signals died, instruments stopped working. It was as if the machine was eating information itself. Karen forced himself to stare at the hole. "We did it," he whispered. Then the hole widened again and Karen's smile faded. "We did too much." Earth Deep Human Command Center, far across the galaxy, the human commander stood over a hologram table showing multiple star sectors. The human battleship drifted nearby, silent and ready. A young officer ran into the room, pale and sweating. "Commander, we detected something." The commander didn't look up. "Zuraki movement." "No, sir, something worse." That made him look. "Explain." The officer swallowed. "A signal, unknown, powerful. It came from the Zuraki capital." The commander frowned. "What kind of signal?" The officer hesitated. "Sir, it wasn't a message, it was a distortion." The commander narrowed his eyes. "Like a gravitational anomaly." "No, sir," the officer whispered, "like reality bending." The commander stepped closer. "Show me the scan." The hologram projected a swirling knot of red and black. It twisted like a storm, it pulsed like a heartbeat, it screamed without sound. The commander felt his spine tighten. "That's no weapon," he whispered. "That's a tear." The officer nodded. "We believe the Zuraki activated something dangerous, something unstable." The commander rubbed his forehead. "They're desperate," he muttered. "Desperate species do stupid things." The officer took a shaky breath. "Sir, the distortion is growing." The commander stared at the twisting shape, and if they lose control, the officer met his eyes. Then the galaxy loses something too. Zuraki capital collapse approaching. Vault Blackstar shook violently. Ceiling pieces fell. Lights exploded. Scientists ran through the hallways in terror. The sphere in the center twisted into a hungry tornado of nothingness, swallowing air, light, sound, metal, data, everything. Dr. Karen crawled across the floor, gripping a railing. "We cannot stop it," he gasped. The sphere pulsed like a gigantic heart. With each pulse, space twisted. With each twist, reality cracked. Tiny cracks appeared in the walls, not cracks in metal, but cracks in existence. Places where the world looked wrong, stretched, broken. Scientists screamed as part of his arm disappeared into one of the cracks. Karen felt the building shiver. "We have made a monster," he whispered. "Human battleship, emergency protocol on the bridge." The AI's voice echoed through the human battleship. "Warning, Zuraki spatial anomaly expanding, danger level catastrophic." The commander grabbed his coat. "Prep the ship, we jump." The AI responded immediately. "Destination, Zuraki space," he said. The AI paused. "That violates the treaty you issued." The commander nodded. "Yeah, but this isn't a war move." He turned toward the viewport. "It's a rescue mission." Zuraki Emperor receives the news. The Emperor stood on his balcony, watching storms shake the sky in unnatural patterns. His advisor rushed forward. "Your Majesty, Vault Blackstar has collapsed." The Emperor turned slowly. "The experiment failed." The advisor's voice shook. "No, it succeeded, and now reality is collapsing with it." The Emperor's eyes widened. "In how many hours?" The advisor whispered. "Not hours, minutes." The Emperor closed his eyes. "We should have never tried to match the humans." He gripped the balcony railing tightly. "We should have feared them more." Human battleship arrives. The giant human ship burst out of hyperspace just outside the Zuraki capital. Its scanners immediately detected the swirling vortex of broken reality. The commander stared at the twisting disaster. "They ripped open a pocket of nothingness," he whispered. "Idiot fools." He stood up straight. "AI, begin countermeasure protocol." The AI's voice deepened. "Protocol Horizon." The commander nodded. "Yes, activate Horizon Ring." Panels shifted along the ship's spine. A massive glowing ring unfolded, buzzing with dangerous blue light. The officer beside him panicked. "Sir, if we fire Horizon here, it could destabilize human space too." The commander looked at him calmly. "If we don't stop this, there won't be a human space." Zuraki see the human ship return. Citizens poured into the streets, pointing at the sky. The giant human battleship floated above the city like a god of war. But this time its weapons were not pointed at them. They were pointed at the swirling disaster they created. A child asked, "Father, is the human ship here to kill us?" The father, trembling, whispered, "No, it is here to save us." Horizon fires. The human commander lifted his hand. AI fire. The Horizon Ring unleashed a wave of blue-white energy, silent, vast, unstoppable. It struck the Zuraki anomaly. The nothingness screamed without sound. The vortex shook. The cracks in existence sealed one by one. The sphere collapsed inward and reality snapped back into place. The city fell silent. The human ship hovered above the Zuraki capital, glowing like a sun after a storm. The Zuraki Emperor whispered, "They saved us after all we did to them." But the commander knew one thing clearly: humans didn't save the Zuraki out of kindness. They saved them because the galaxy must remain stable. A broken galaxy was dangerous, but a united galaxy would be far more dangerous for anyone who threatened Earth. The Zuraki capital had never been this quiet, not during war, not during plague, not during disaster. But now silence covered the city like a heavy blanket. Every citizen stared up at the sky where the human battleship hovered, its colossal frame glowing softly, not in anger but in power, a silent warning, a silent promise. Humans were watching. Inside the imperial palace, the Zuraki emperor stood in his war robes, breathing slowly as the ground still trembled from the recently collapsed anomaly. He had seen many enemies in his lifetime, but never one like the humans. A messenger rushed into the throne room. "Your Majesty, a message from the human ship." The emperor straightened instantly. "Show it." The room's lights dimmed, a hologram flickered on. It was not a human face, it was the battleship's AI, a floating sphere of blue light, cold, silent, watching. The chamber filled with dread. The AI spoke in a calm voice, "Zuraki Emperor, the anomaly is contained. Your planet is safe for now." "For now," the emperor repeated, mandibles tightening. The AI continued, "You tampered with space. You risked a collapse that would have destroyed multiple sectors." The emperor straightened his back. "We did what we must for survival against you." The AI paused, then responded with chilling clarity. "Survival from us. If humans wanted you dead, you would not exist." The council members trembled, some stepped back, but the Emperor didn't look away. You saved us. Why? The AI answered simply, because we don't want a broken galaxy. A long silence stretched. The Emperor finally said, your ship saved our world, but I must know, what are you humans preparing for? Why build a weapon so powerful? The AI's lights flickered. Because the galaxy is bigger than you know. The Emperor frowned. What does that mean? The AI spoke slowly now, as if choosing its words carefully. We have seen signals from beyond our galaxy, something old, something aggressive, something hungry. A chill swept across the room. The Emperor whispered, so humans are preparing for an unknown enemy. The AI responded, humans prepare for everything. The Emperor's request. The Emperor took a slow breath. Your kind defeated us easily. You could have conquered us. You could have erased us, but you did not. He lowered his head slightly, a gesture no Zeraki ruler had done in centuries. Tell me, human machine, what do humans want? The AI replied, we want peace. The Emperor's eyes widened. Peace. After showing such power, the AI's glow softened. Peace is only real when others know what happens if they break it. The Emperor felt the weight of those words. Humans wanted peace, but peace backed by unimaginable strength. The human commander arrives without warning. A beam of blue light touched the palace floor. The Emperor stepped back. Out of the beam, a human stepped forward, tall, calm, wearing a dark command uniform, a real human. Every Zeraki guard aimed their weapons. The Emperor lifted a hand. Lower them. The human commander stood silently, hands behind his back. The Emperor examined him. You are their leader? No, the commander answered. I am one of many. And the battleship? The Emperor asked. Is it the strongest thing humans have built? The commander looked up at the sky where the warship hovered. No, he said quietly, it is just the first one we allow others to see. The Emperor froze. The entire council froze. Even the AI fell silent. The commander continued. Humans learned long ago that peace requires two things, strength and restraint. The Emperor spoke carefully. You showed restraint today. The commander nodded slightly. And strength. The two leaders faced each other, not as enemies now, but as forces. Zeraki Emperor, the human commander said, we expect no tribute, no surrender, no loyalty. He took one step forward. Only this, do not enter human space again, ever. The Emperor felt those words like a mountain pressed against his shoulders. I accept, he said. The commander's eyes softened. Then you have nothing to fear from us. A truth that shakes the empire. The Emperor tilted his head. One last question. The commander nodded. Why did humans evolve so fast? Why leap so far ahead? We studied your history. You were weak, fragmented, small. The commander smiled faintly. That is exactly why. The Emperor blinked. What? The commander folded his arms behind his back. When a species is comfortable, it grows slowly. When a species is safe, it becomes lazy. When a species faces no danger, it becomes blind. He pointed upward. Humans were never safe, not on Earth, not in space, not in war. He spread his hands, and pressure creates strength. The Emperor whispered, then humans are forged by suffering. The commander nodded. And united by purpose. The Emperor bowed his head. In that moment he understood something terrifying. Humans did not become powerful despite their struggles. They became powerful because of them, and if something stronger than humans ever appeared, they would become stronger still. The Emperor exhaled slowly. Then we truly cannot fight you. The commander answered, no, but you can stand beside us when the real enemy comes. The final message. The human commander stepped back into the beam of blue light. Remember our warning, Emperor, he said, and remember our help. The Emperor nodded. We owe you our survival. The commander gave a small, respectful bow. Use it wisely. The blue beam brightened, the commander vanished, and the human battleship jumped into hyperspace, silent, massive, unstoppable. For hours after, the Zeraki streets buzzed with a single whispered phrase, humans saved us. Humans warned us. Humans are ready for something else. A storm was coming, not from the Zeraki, not from any known empire, something beyond the stars, and only the humans had prepared for it. The human battleship sliced through hyperspace like a silent blade. Its engines glowed with deep blue light and streaks of distorted stars rushed past the windows, but inside there was no celebration, no victory smiles, no relief. The commander stood alone in the observation chamber, staring at a hologram of the Zeraki capital. The anomaly had been contained, lives had been saved, a war had been prevented, but something troubled him deeply. The horizon ring had reacted strangely during the containment, strangely and not in a good way. He replayed the scan again, a pulse, a ripple, a distortion, not from the Zeraki device, from something else, something far beyond. He clenched his jaw. We didn't stop the anomaly, he whispered. We woke something behind it. Earth, the forbidden chamber deep beneath the highest security facility on Earth, hidden even from most governments, stood a round door made of black steel. No symbol, no lock, only a scanner that accepted one person, the human commander. He placed his hand on it. The door hissed open. Inside was a dark circular room lit by a single floating object, a cube, black, silent, covered in glowing carvings that shifted like living symbols. It was not human-made, not even close. No one knew where it came from, not even the commander. The cube pulsed softly as if breathing. The commander approached it slowly. You reacted today, he whispered. Why? The cube hummed. A deep vibration filled the room, shaking the air, the walls, even the commander's bones. Then a whisper appeared inside his mind, not English, not any language, but clear. It watches now. The commander froze. What watches? The cube vibrated again. The one beyond the dark. A shiver crawled down the commander's spine. This was bad, very bad. Zuraki Empire, trouble and silence on the Zuraki capital. Emperor Velter sat alone in his throne room. His world had survived. His people lived, but he did not feel safe. Humans had saved them. Humans had warned them, but humans were afraid of something else, and that terrified him. Dared our hologram of the destroyed vault Blackstar. What have we unleashed? He whispered. A guard entered the room. Your Majesty, our outer listening posts have detected something strange. The Emperor tensed. Strange how? The guard hesitated. Not a signal, not a ship, more like a movement. The Emperor narrowed his eyes. Movement of what? The guard swallowed. Space, Your Majesty, space itself is moving. The Emperor stood so quickly that his cloak snapped behind him. That is impossible, the guard whispered. That's what we thought too. Across the galaxy, the first sign merchant ships in distant sectors began reporting strange events. We saw a star shaking, space folded like cloth. Our sensors broke for 3 seconds, everything went black. Something is coming, we don't know what. At first, people thought it was rumor, fear, superstition, but then more reports came from pirate fleets, from miners on asteroid belts, from explorers in dark, uncharted regions, and all said the same thing: the darkness was moving, like something enormous was shifting behind it. Human battleship, the realization. The commander stood on the bridge as alarms flashed. The AI spoke calmly but urgently. Commander, the horizon ring detected a resonance pattern. From the Zuraki anomaly, he asked. Partly, but this pattern does not match Zuraki technology. The commander turned slowly. Then what does it match? The AI paused, then answered. Records from the black cube. The commander's heart froze. You're sure? Yes, exact 99.7% match. The commander gripped the railing. The cube was ancient, older than humanity, older than any known civilization. Humans had only found it buried beneath Antarctica inside solid rock, millions of years old. If the anomaly matched the cube, then the Zuraki experiment hadn't just created a tear, it had created a signal. Beacon, a call, the commander whispered. Oh no, they heard it. Zuraki deep space, the first glimpse at the edge of Zuraki territory. A lonely listening post floated quietly. 2 soldiers sat half asleep at their consoles when the sensors suddenly blanked out. System glitch, one asked. The other tapped controls. No, something's blocking the scanners. A dark shadow appeared outside the window. Not a ship, not a meteor, not anything they understood. It looked like a hole. A vertical line of pure blackness stretching for kilometers. It widened. Oh no, the first soldier whispered. Something stepped out, not a creature, not a machine, something in between, long, silent, made of shifting darkness that absorbed light. The soldiers screamed, but the creature didn't attack. It only turned its empty face toward them and stared, then it vanished, and the listening post went silent. Forever. Earth, the final warning. The cube pulsed again, harder, faster. The commander grabbed the table to stay upright. Cube, what is coming? Tell me. For the first time ever, the cube spoke in a clear human word, a single one, a word that chilled the commander deeper than any enemy ever had. Run. The cube went dark, the lights died, the entire facility shook, and in that darkness the commander finally understood the Zuraki weren't the humans' enemy. The galaxy wasn't their enemy. Something older was waking, something dangerous. Something that had noticed the Zuraki experiment. And for the first time in the entire HFY history, humanity was not preparing to win. Humanity was preparing to survive.